Welcome to this edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, the show where three mostly normal and somewhat cynical adults discuss life as members of the TV generation. Now here are your hosts, Darth Jada, Jason Mitchell, and Adam B.
Oh, that
wait
son
a
of
minute.
a bitch.
Where's Adam?
I don't know. He's off lollygagging around.
Did he disappear again?
He's doing some, what could he be doing?
I don't know.
What's that term I heard? Sex tourism.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he go to Japan for that?
Malaysia. Malaysia.
The teledildonics.
Yes. It's a very big convention.
Conference, yes.
Very big deal. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hindsight is Horrifying.
Welcome back.
Where we are not doing our year of hell.
No.
It's over. We're done.
Moved on. It's wonderful.
Yeah, now we're doing a movie that we all actually kind of like.
Our future's so bright, Darth Vader had to wear shades.
Yes, exactly.
No, you'll understand why I'm wearing shades very soon, Hindsighters, because we're discussing a very special movie this evening.
We assume that Mr. Brown likes this movie also, but he's not here, so we get to tell him what he thinks.
That's okay. I get to be alone with Mel, so it's all right. I'm okay with that.
And I get Julia.
Yeah, you get
That's
Julia.
good.
I get
That's
Mel.
good.
That's a decent trade-off.
It's not awesome, but it's
Hey, she's beautiful.
Julia Roberts actually looks very lovely in this movie.
She looks lovely in every movie. What are you talking about?
She's a hooker with a heart of gold.
Oh my God! Yes, she is. Pretty woman walking down the street.
No, I was talking about Aaron Brockovich.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
there's that too. But yes, so Hindsighters, the movie we are discussing this week. It was Darth Jader's pick. It was sort of a mutual pick, honestly, between Jason and myself, with Mr. Brown out of town. That rhymed. We chose Conspiracy Theory from 1997.
A wonderful year.
Yes.
1 year before the greatest year in motion picture history.
And I was 9 years old.
I graduated in 96 from high school. So this was 97.
I hang out with older fellas.
Well, wait a minute. So wait, did I see this? I guess I was a freshman in college when I saw this.
I would assume so, yes.
That's right, because this is actually the story, and spoiler alert, which...
Beware.
Yeah, come on. When I saw this movie, one of the most enjoyable movie-going experiences of my life was throughout the entire movie, there's, which is obviously about conspiracy theories, and Mel Gibson is somebody who is very much into conspiracy theories. NASA comes up a lot.
Yes, yes, it does.
And
they're trying to kill the president.
Yeah, and I saw this movie on opening night, and back then, opening night, even for a movie that was just a Richard Donner, Mel Gibson movie,
right?
There was a line. People were waiting to get into the theater. And we watched it. We went to the early showing. And on the way out, I was walking out with my friends. Mm-hmm. And we were walking past the line of people waiting to go in. And I said, I can't believe it was NASA the whole time.
You've told this story before.
But now I can say, yeah.
And you blew the movie for everybody waiting in line. That was great.
But actually, how happy were they when they got to the end of the movie and they realized it wasn't NASA?
It was not indeed. That's true.
It was, hello, I'm Patrick Stewart.
Captain Picard, I think you mean. Let's get our shit together.
As an American, so he's Captain Picard in this movie.
That
every single time he came on screen while I was watching this, every single time in my head I heard, and I'm Patrick Stewart.
Oh my God, of course you did. Well, this is one of the few projects that you hear Patrick Stewart with an American accent, and he does it.
I can't think of anything else.
I've never seen him in anything. Yeah. I'm not saying he hasn't done anything else with an American accent. I'm just saying this is the only sample I have of it. I've never seen him do anything with an American accent besides this movie.
Mel pulls off the beanie.
He does.
He does. He pulls it off. I love me some Mel Gibson.
Pulls off everything.
You know what?
Oh my God.
I'm confident enough in my heterosexuality to say I love Mel Gibson.
Seriously.
I fucking love Mel Gibson.
I know you had a meltdown. We're not really concerned about that. We're more of the forgive and forget type.
Who hasn't had a meltdown?
Seriously, who has not had a bad day on their roster?
Are we really going to judge people like that?
Post-COVID, come on. Mel, we love you. Darth Jader loves you. Call her. If you call her before
Mel?
Tom, it's really just a race now between you and Tom. So
Mel,
let's see
let's
what
go
happens.
grab a beer and talk about Vatican II.
Yes, my goodness. So let's give a synopsis to the hindsighters who may not be familiar with this movie, Jason. So
most people won't, and I will tell you, I talked to LJ today. He actually didn't even remember this movie existed.
Monsieur Lejeune has not seen this movie?
No, he saw it with me. He was in the theater with me whenever I did that, but no one remembers this movie.
Oh, he got shot up with the gravy. That's why he doesn't remember. So anyway, the synopsis, hindsighters, for those of you who don't know. New York City cabbie Jerry Fletcher, Mel Gibson, is an expert on paranoid conspiracy theories. He is also infatuated with government lawyer Alice Sutton, Julia Roberts, who permits his attention because he once rescued her from a mugging. However, when Jerry is captured and put through psychotic tests, things go awry. The description is much more, it's detailed than that, but it goes on for too long. So.
Well, it's definitely a movie. You have to watch it twice because the second time you see a lot of things
that you missed in the first place.
Well, you couldn't have known. Like when he's looking at the arc welder in the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
And you see these images and you see the gravy thing and you see the power plant. And it's like, well, wait a minute. That hasn't happened yet.
No. The movie does a very good job at setting Mel Gibson up to seem like a nut, just to seem like a general psychotic, a paranoid schizophrenic possibly, who somehow is leading his own life and he's not hospitalized and he's just paranoid. It's a very good
script.
Oh, it's fantastic. A very good script.
And do you know the story about how the screenwriter came to become a screenwriter?
I do not. Tell me.
This is beautiful. Richard Donner I think he was driving into the studio.
Okay.
And he sees a guy outside holding a sign that says screenwriter,
will work for food.
Will work for food or something like that. And he stopped the car and he got out and he said, "Hey, what's the deal with this sign?" And the guy said, "Look, I want to be a screenwriter. I'm here. Give me a chance. I'll write you a screenplay." And it wasn't actually this movie, and it was a movie before. It was a previous Richard Donner movie.
Aww. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen.
Yeah, but Richard Donner gave the guy a chance based on him hustling out there with the sign.
Hey, when you have hustle, you make it happen one way or the other.
Of course, nowadays you can do that in LA because you just be some other dude.
Just the other dude doing
guy
that
on the street
by the cherry stand. Yeah. Speaking of hustle, hindsighters, in case you aren't aware, Darth Jader just changed careers because she also has hustle. So it's just a thing that happened this week.
Wrong one. Sorry, the wrong sound effect.
No, it's actually a positive thing despite Jason's defense.
That was it.
Thank you.
Yes, that's it.
Hi.
Sorry.
Anyway, I did have a career change this week, which is a very positive note in my life. So thank you in advance, hindsighters. I appreciate your...
Hey, do you know what I think of you?
Oh, God.
What don't you fucking
Oh, wait, no, wrong one. Sorry.
You're unfucking believable.
Yay!
That's what I meant to say.
Good for me.
Sorry, with Christian, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, he's a box of chocolates. You never know
so you got a job.
You're gonna get.
When do you start?
I start next Tuesday after Memorial Day.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you, Christian. I can hear you from the kitchen. Goodness, you're loud. And welcome back. We didn't know you were joining us tonight. That's really exciting.
Christian Bale never leaves us. He's always close to our hearts.
Yes, he's always right here. But hindsighters, I guess it's easy, Christian. I will go get some ice cream. Go back to the kitchen. But anyway,
you're a nice guy.
There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't identify as a guy, but I'll accept the compliment regardless. So anyway, hindsighters, I bet you're wondering why Darth is really wearing her shades tonight, and that's because we're watching Conspiracy Theory. And I don't want them to find me. I don't want Captain Picard to destroy me and, give me the gravy shot.
And I'm Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
We need to talk about the bad guy in this movie, who is the bad guy in the movie is Patrick Stewart. And he's playing Patrick Stewart.
As Patrick Stewart with an American accent.
Because, you're either Captain Picard Hamlet, or Patrick Stewart.
Those are the only three options in life. I mean, that's what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Every single time when I was previewing this movie, every time that Patrick Stewart showed up on screen, in my head I heard, "And I'm Patrick Stewart."
Shut up, Wesley. But yeah, so Jason, going back to your original point, I can see why it takes you more than one viewing of this movie to really understand it, because the script does do a phenomenal job. The writer did a phenomenal job in and of itself, because
it's actually a very good movie.
It is, because you're set up to believe that Jerry really is this paranoid, kind of schizophrenic person with no ground to stand on. But then it turns out that he's actually right about every conspiracy theory that he has.
Well, the thing is, as far as the screenplay,
alert.
as far as the screenplay works, it's like an onion, and there's layers.
Ogres are like onions,
there's layers, and you peel it away, and there's more story. You peel the layer away, more story. Peel it away, more story.
Yes.
Do you hear me, J.J. Abrams?
Well, he's working on his lens flare. Leave him alone.
Because if he had done conspiracy theory, it would have just been, oh, I know, there's a guy, and he's crazy.
And then lens flare.
And lens flare. Yeah.
And Zachary Quinto.
And Zachary Quinto.
But so this movie starts off, you really just see Mel Gibson / Jerry, that's his character. He's just this cabbie who shares all of his conspiracy theories, and he's super chatty with all of his
He's got
fares.
5 subscribers.
Yeah, he does have 5 subscribers.
He's only got one more subscriber than we do.
Very true. And we have YouTube. How pathetic are we?
Exactly.
He had them in print in the 90s. My God.
Are you kidding me? This guy would have to work nowadays.
That's true. I mean, he does work. He's a cabbie. He's
no, I meant at his conspiracy theory
Sheesh,
stuff.
cab Bob.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, that was
he's
the other,
lifting up the skirt of the night.
I between the Patrick Stewart gag and lifting up the skirt of the night, that was
the pants of the night.
I kind of realize why I enjoy this movie more now than I did 25 years ago, because there's
Don't laugh. It's not right to make fun of the night.
Oh, Bobby. Your daddy worked so hard for you, little girl.
I'll refrost it. It's delicious. For those non-Bob's Burgers fans, sorry. Yeah, so Jerry does have to re-enter his apartment a different way every single time he goes home. He's clearly paranoid. There's something off about his life, and you think that it's really just all in his head until you discover later in the movie.
That's what's so awesome about it.
Yes.
That's what's so great.
It's layered like an onion, just like you said, Jason.
It turns out that he's actually not crazy.
No,
and that's
he's not.
That's such a great dynamic for a story.
It is.
Because, it's like the Arrested Development thing. When you watch all of Arrested Development, you realize the only one who's really crazy is Michael.
Yeah. Everybody else is living in their own little world.
They're actually
fine.
Pretty sane.
They're acting accordingly depending on what's happening in their lives, whereas Michael is the one who's trying to
he's the lunatic.
Maintain the circus with the monkeys in it. It's crazy. But Jerry's sort of the same way, and he's obsessed with Julia Roberts, as we come to find out. And the book,
The Hooker with a Heart of Gold.
Oh my God, poor Aaron Brockovich. Poor pretty woman walking down the street. But Mel Gibson,
I love that he smashes the roach.
Yes,
and then he just hangs it back up again.
And what do you mean hangs it back up?
He smashes it with the spatula, and then he
finds a roach in his kitchen sink.
and then he just hangs the spatula back up again.
Oh, I thought you meant he hung the roach up, and I was like, what? No, he puts it in an old Chinese food box. But so you come to find, like, at Jerry's apartment, not only is his pantry, what do you call that?
Like the storefront.
It's like a storefront bar cage that prevents people from getting into his pantry. He's got a padlock on his refrigerator and on all of his containers.
But his Lee and Perrins Worcestershire sauce is not locked.
What did you just call it?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
No. You see,
we're gonna have a debate on
because unlike some Robin Hoods, at least I can speak with a British accent.
Oh my! Good for you.
It's the Shire of Worcester.
Anyway, Carrie would be so ashamed of me right now. But anyhow, Mel Gibson does keep all of his food, not just his refrigerator, but individual
his yogurt.
His coffee, like individual foods in his refrigerator. He keeps them padlocked with different combinations. He's so paranoid about somebody poisoning him or dosing him.
Well, that's the least of it.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, because, as it turns out, he has the entire apartment designed to go up in flames.
He does. He's got it padded so where he can't burn down the building. He can only burn down his own apartment, which is, I think that's neighborly.
Yeah, he's a very clever guy.
That's neighborly. Like, you don't want to burn down,
he's thinking about it.
Miss Smith's apartment next door. She's a nice old lady.
Jerry is actually a brilliant guy.
Yes, it's very Manchurian Candidate / Jason Bourne. He's brainwashed. You come to find later in the movie. So spoiler alert. Sorry, hindsighters. But
yeah. And he's been abused.
He has been by government methods. He was experimented upon like a guinea pig,
which is all totally true. Which is so weird.
What?
It's like, MK Ultra. Oh, as it turns out, that was real. It's amazing how many of these conspiracy theories
actually pan out.
And actually, we should take the opportunity to, we're going to give everybody here a little treat, because I'm going to cut in something.
Oh, my.
Because our production company is about to launch a new project.
Yes, we are.
A new series. Here's a little taste. So, popular crackpot coming back to the airwaves after a hiatus of 14 years.
I cannot wait. It's been quite some time in the making.
Yeah.
You just had to meet the right people to make it happen, I suppose.
The technology had to get there.
It really did.
The idea was there, but, the world had to be ready for it.
Yes, we had to wait.
Yeah.
The world is waiting with breath that is bated.
And what's amazing is that some people would say it's a conspiracy theory that we picked this movie at the same time but it's actually not true.
No, it's actually utter coincidence.
It's a complete coincidence.
Don't worry for you Mel Gibson cabbies out there. Don't worry. We did not do this on purpose.
Yes.
I even pointed that out to Jason. But one of the first clues that you see with Jerry, the fact that he might not be completely just schizophrenic, like paranoid, all that. He has a problem with one of his fares. He's taking a guy home and he starts talking to the guy because the guy that he picks up and takes home, the guy kisses this woman sort of passionately on the sidewalk, and Mel Gibson's like, "Oh, you're in love with her. I saw the way you kissed her.
That's the sound of love."
Yes. And he's like, "I don't even call it love. I call it Geronimo." Because what he says is, when you're in love, you'll jump right from the top of the Empire State and you won't even care, screaming Geronimo the whole way down. Love gives you wings. And then he's talking about Julia Roberts, and he says, "Oh, I'd die for her." And
I thought it was Red Bull.
Red Bull gives you wings.
No, Red Bull gives you a horrible cancer.
Sponsor us, Red Bull. But so you come to find that the lady that Mel Gibson he's in love with Julia Roberts, and he stalks her.
Fun fact. Do you know who almost got the part before Julia Roberts?
Please tell me.
Jodie Foster.
Ew.
Well, no. Okay, well, let's reserve our judgment. I like Jodie Foster.
No. I like her, but I can see why she didn't end up being Alice, because with Jodie Foster, I don't think of romantic stories. With Julia Roberts, I can see the seriousness of her character, along with the fact that she could fall for a guy like Jerry.
There was one person who could think of a romantic story, and his name was John Hinckley. Because he shot Reagan. He shot Ronald Reagan.
He did.
And why did he shoot Ronald Reagan?
Because he was part of the
to impress Jodie Foster. Yeah, that's the reason.
You're kidding me.
I've
never heard this.
That's the stated reason. It was to impress Jodie Foster.
Shared gas, hindsighters. I've never heard this.
And so it's sort of like
seriously, that's why he shot President Reagan.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now, she didn't do the movie because she was already committed to do Contact.
Oh, right, with Matthew McConaughey. And
But
I think that this would be an excellent opportunity for me to take my shirt off for the aliens.
Are those aliens? I can't do McConaughey.
It's hard to make fun of him because he's actually an incredibly...
I know.
He's such a talented actor.
I love Matthew McConaughey.
But,
Buick,
yeah,
what are we thinking of? What are we doing? No, but it's convenient that she didn't do the movie because she does have sort of a, not a role in...
But a personal connection to one of the conspiracy theories in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. That would have been a little too on the nose. I would have felt cheap doing that myself.
John
That
Hinckley
makes sense.
probably would have seen this movie in prison and just plots himself.
And been like, oh, they made a movie about me.
Yeah.
John Hinckley.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing that we have to touch on that we already passed, pardon me, hindsighters, is that when Mel Gibson was in the cab, he was talking about the black helicopters. And that comes up multiple times throughout the movie.
That is, yeah.
He
Put
says,
it on whisper mode.
Because he's quite chatty with all of his fares, and he says, black helicopters in whisper mode, they're everywhere. And you just have to look out for them. And there are people just, dropping from the helicopters and coming and sneaking up on you.
I kind of feel like in New York that people would notice, but even, it's like, I don't know if it would necessarily be the noise of the helicopter, but that there's a fucking helicopter right there.
Yeah, there's so much going on. You would see it. Even though there's all this street clatter, I totally understand what you're saying, Jason.
Now,
it's like you're 30 feet off the ground. I see you right
and also,
there.
helicopters make a lot of wind.
They do. They tend to disrupt
Oh my God.
patterns.
Yeah, all the newspapers are blowing everywhere, but I don't hear anything.
It's a little bizarre, yes.
Now, an interesting thing that I noticed on subsequent viewing, did you notice whenever Mel Gibson, early in the movie, he goes into Julia Alice's office, when she's sitting down and she goes to take her coat off, Mel Gibson goes in there and takes her coat off.
Okay.
Very gentlemanly, and she's very...
Yes, he's so chivalrous with her. He's so protective and sweet.
But there's a hint that the screenwriter puts in there showing that Patrick Stewart is the exact opposite of Jerry, because when Patrick Stewart is having lunch in the hospital cafeteria with Alice, he pulls her chair back as a gentleman, and you can see on Alice's face how uncomfortable that makes her.
Well, I mean, that's a thing.
It's an interesting, just like with Jerry, it's okay, you can take my coat off.
Well, and see, I think that's the differentiation between how they know each other. So, hindsighters, for Jason already kind of, I read it in the synopsis, but Jerry rescued Julia Roberts. He rescued Alice. That's their first interaction. So she has this chivalrous mindset toward him where she feels safe with him. She knows that even though he's pretty kooky and he's got his quirks, like, he's not going to harm her at any given point.
Well, and remember the backstory, though, about her father.
Yes, her father was murdered, hindsighters, for those who don't know. Yeah. He was assassinated. And you come to find, spoiler alert, that it was actually Jerry who was supposed to assassinate Alice's father. He didn't, however. But ever since Alice's father made Jerry vow that he would look after Alice. Right. So that's why no matter everything that's going on with
he's basically the Terminator.
Kind of. With everything that's going on, he gets, the gravy shot into his brain, and he gets the psychosis, and they mess with his mind, unfortunately, and they turn him inside out. Like, they scramble him like an egg, but then the one solid thing that he cannot let go is Alice.
Because because he agreed to that.
Yes,
he affirmatively said,
I will take care of Alice.
I'm going to do this, as opposed to it being forced upon him.
Yes, it's something that he wanted to do, and Alice turns out to be the reason why Jerry didn't assassinate her father, because he saw her, he laid eyes on Alice, and he was just dumbstruck. He couldn't get over her. He loved her immediately.
And it's amazing to me, literally, when I was a kid. And this movie came out in 97, so I was 18. Yeah, about 18. When you say, like, it's not that bad. 18.
Yeah, we're
and
not that
9.
different
it's
in
not that
age.
bad.
No.
Yeah.
Especially now that we're in our 30s and 40s. Who cares?
Yeah, when I'm
It doesn't
80,
matter.
it's really not going to make a fuck worth a difference.
I'll
you know?
be there pretending like we're still doing our podcast
Yeah.
in our nursing home. Don't worry.
But whenever I was a kid, and for the past 50 years before then.
Oh, and this is a part where you also see that Jerry's not paranoid, but keep
Right,
going.
yeah. No, Jerry's not paranoid, yeah.
No, he's not.
But for decades and decades, it was just a given thing that nobody fucking trusted those fucking cocksuckers at the CIA. Oh my God. Well, nobody did.
Just Slater.
No,
It's
but
a
I mean,
mononym.
but you go through movie after movie after movie, go all the way back, to all the President's Men.
It doesn't
Day
matter,
of the whatever, Day of the Jackal. I mean, the intelligence community was always seen as bad because they were so inherently secret and so inherently powerful.
You never knew what their next move was going to be.
And
it could be anything.
Yeah, and you had the Democratic Senator Church back in the 70s with the famous Church Commission, where he uncovered all of these horrible things that CIA and FBI did. And it's so amazing to me that all of a sudden everyone's so comfortable with the CIA and the FBI, and it's like, no, they've been the bad guys for a long time.
They
haven't
some hard
changed.
decisions.
Yeah, they're still above the law, et cetera, and I will get off my soapbox.
No,
and I'm Patrick Stewart.
You need to have your alarm system, and this is something that I don't think I texted this to you, Jason, but you can show the hindsighters. So Jerry has a sophisticated system at his apartment where he puts a beer bottle on the top of his door handle, so it
Very
can drop.
clever.
Yes,
Very clever.
so it can drop and shatter. It's his own, home alarm system.
It's just a beer bottle.
Now, what you just saw, hindsighters, is my dog gate, and it stays in front of my front door in case somebody is clever enough to whittle their way through my front door, and then the gate will fall down and clatter, and I'll be made aware to anybody's presence in my house in case my dogs don't pick up on it. So I'm a little bit of a Jerry. I've got my own extra alarm system at the house.
That's why I scatter caltrops every night. I sprinkle them outside and inside the door.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I run out, I go to, areadefense.com.
I love it. It's so thorough. But yes, now we're to our first torture session. So
With I'm Patrick Stewart.
Yes, Jerry has pushed the envelope a little too hard. He has his 5 subscribers who you come to find are all dead except for one. And so Patrick Stewart rounds up Mel Gibson and
Takes him to a rave.
takes him to...
It's basically a rave.
is there always a pool, or was there just a pool later when he...
No, there's a pool here.
Okay, there's always a pool
yeah.
when he's torturing his subject.
They don't waterboard him. Because waterboarding is where you put like a towel over their mouth.
No, they
and
straight dunk him in the
They
water.
actually put his fucking head underwater.
Yes, they straight up try to quasi-drown him.
Which I was watching this, and you watch this movie, and it's weird because this movie, it's rated R, but Richard Donner really pushed for it to be PG-13. And he really tried to make it a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of humor in it.
It does. It's
even
subtle, though.
Even the music is kind of lighthearted at times.
I love you, baby.
But the thing is, like, you're watching this and you can't help but put yourself in Mel Gibson's place.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, if you dunk my head underwater and you're trying to get something out of me, I'm just going to breathe the water in.
Really?
You're not getting shit out of me, asshole.
I guess it depends on how important the information is.
I'm drowning, and you can go fuck yourself.
Okay. You've got nerves of steel, sir.
He's dead. And I'm Patrick Stewart.
But, I mean, Patrick Stewart does play the villain rather convincingly because growing up watching him on Star Trek, this was the first time I ever saw him as the villain growing up.
This is his best movie role since Life Force.
I've never seen Life Force. I'm trying to refute. I thought that was going to be one of the make you cry movies that you were going to force me to watch.
No, it's good.
Okay.
Well, it's good for men and lesbians.
Yeah.
For anyone else, it's...
I don't know that I'd be into it.
Let's talk about the fact that Patrick Stewart gets a little too close to Mel's face.
Well, he kind of has to because Mel has to bite his nose almost
I hate this
off.
level in Wolfenstein when you're in the wheelchair, just fucking hated that
So,
level.
okay, Mel Gibson is, he's strapped to a wheelchair and his legs are free enough that he can kind of crab walk himself away from his torturers.
Yeah, they
And
should have put those little brakes on.
That's how he, they should have. I don't know. This is kind of a cheap wheelchair. I don't know if it even has those.
Maybe not, yeah.
But
it's
Mel
the
Gibson.
one George bought for that girl after he... never mind.
What?
In that episode of Seinfeld.
Oh my God.
When he got the cheapest wheelchair.
Anyway, sorry, Hindsighters. But Mel Gibson is literally running away while strapped to a wheelchair, and he falls down a set of stairs and gets impaled by parts of the wheelchair.
Is this funny? I can't tell if this scene is funny or not. Because with no
it's
sound.
funny and it's serious.
Yeah, with no audio, it's hilarious.
Yeah, because Mel Gibson's eyes are kind of. I'll take my sunglasses off for just a moment. Mel Gibson's eyes are kind of.
Yeah, because
taped
they
so they
taped
can
it on,
torture
yeah.
him with strobe lights.
He kills two dudes.
He kills two guys while strapped to a wheelchair. It's insane. He knocks one out of a 4-story window.
Yeah.
It's insane. But
And then no, with no sound, it's actually hilarious.
yes, it could be a vaudevillian sort of film if you really wanted it to be. But
I guess the joke's on me.
poor Mel Gibson. But the poor guy, Jerry, he's just like a rabid dog running around for most of the movie and nobody believes him.
He's pure survival instinct.
Yes, and he's operating on it. It's very, like I said, Josh was the one to say it at home. He said, "Oh, so it's very Manchurian Candidate," because he's never seen this movie or hasn't watched it for many, many years. And I said, "Yeah, it's a little Jason Bourne."
And he pulls that spoke, the wheelchair spoke, out of his kidney.
Out of his kidney or his liver. You're not really
whatever.
sure, but it's got to be painful.
It's something that doesn't supposed to have a hole in it.
Yeah, poor Mel. He's in shock and he's got to get to a hospital. He needs help. He needs help so desperately. And
Now-
but who's the person he seeks out? And he doesn't go to a hospital.
Alice. Yeah,
he goes to Alice. Yes.
Now, let me tell you one thing though, and I do, maybe I should feel bad for thinking this, but so Patrick Stewart leans in, Mel Gibson lunges forward, gets his Patrick Stewart's nose in Mel's mouth. If I was in that situation, I can promise you one thing: you wouldn't have a nose left. It would be in my mouth when it was over with.
I guess it just depends.
Or it would be hanging by a thread.
Because who bit off? Was it Evander Holyfield's?
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson bit off
Mike Tyson.
Evander Holyfield's
That was
a
an ear.
chunk of his ear.
And that's cartilage. It's the same thing. If Iron Mike can do it, come on, Mel.
Well, when you look at the stitches later, I know I'm a bit of a nerd. The stitches are actually higher up on Picard's nose, so I don't think that Mel got a
That's
bit
why
of
you have
cartilage.
to chew. You have to chew.
So
see.
this is the strategy, Hindsighters. If you're ever strapped to a chair and you have to bite off someone's nose, bite the tip. Just the tip.
Yeah, just
the tip.
Just the tip.
Are you going to pay for your lunch?
Just the tip. And then go see Julia Roberts.
Yes, at City Hall where you can wave a gun and somehow come out alive.
She works at City Hall, Federal U.S. Justice Department, District Attorney of something.
Yeah,
Stan.
she's an attorney for the Justice Department. Yes.
It's very convoluted.
Because Mel even has a quote about that in the beginning of the movie. He says, "Oh, it's my girl, Justice. She's wearing a blindfold." So it's definitely City Hall. It's just, Alice works there.
But it's the good City Hall.
You can't fight City Hall.
Because the bad guys are at the other City Hall. And that's the bad City Hall.
What do you mean the other
they're
City
at
Hall?
remember, he goes to the courthouse. Where the CIA, literally on the directory, it says Central Intelligence Agency.
Like it does, yeah.
I just feel like that's a giveaway.
Yeah, it's...
know?
I know where they are.
I know the Soviets are gone, but come on, guys.
Seriously, these days, maybe in 97 this could have happened where Mel Gibson comes in and waves a gun around City Hall. He'd be dead already.
Well, think about it.
Days.
I mean, every one of the wide shots of New York, what do you see? The Twin Towers. And you can't watch it without thinking, this was made in a different world.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but yeah.
But it's a totally different world. I mean, they have metal detectors, and it's like, hey, give me your keys,
Yeah, they're just like, Jerry, keys.
Jerry,
and
keys.
he just throws them at the guard, and the guard throws them back. The 90s, Hindsighters, for those of you who didn't really live through them,
Look, Mel's getting all like, he's like...
He's got mush brain. Like,
and he's going to go to sleep, and Julia Roberts is just like holding him.
Yeah, she's
They're
just sheltering him, and no, they never do. That's the thing about this movie is that spoiler alert: they're star-crossed lovers, Hindsighters. They don't wind up together.
Are you going to bone her?
I wish I could, because there's this sweet moment later in the movie when they're in the subway, and Mel Gibson's just like, I wish I could just find some charming old-fashioned way to come up and ask you to marry me. Like, I'm so in love with you, it's insane.
Mary.
Mary. But he's so in love with Alice, and it wasn't even because of her father. Her father charged Mel Gibson / Jerry with the task of looking after his daughter.
Who should have played her father?
But who?
Patrick Stewart.
Oh my God. They're evil twins.
And on that note, we have to take a time out.
Yes, we're going to peace out for a second, Hindsighters, but we will be back in approximately 1 minute.
Second.
Sure.
And we're back.
Hi.
Took a little bit longer than we thought. Ran out of alcohol, so we had to push back everything a few days.
Yes, it is now Memorial Day, so happy Memorial Day to all of those who never made it home. We appreciate you.
And for those of you watching this when it comes out, on YouTube, Memorial Day was a few days ago, but, it's the spirit.
Yes,
it's the thought that counts.
We always appreciate our veterans and those who did not make it back. Anybody who served our country, we are extremely proud to call you a fellow American, so thank you.
Absolutely. And so the movie has moved into Alice has changed.
Yes, there's been a gear shift in Alice's attitude toward Jerry.
Alice is definitely the protagonist of the movie. Jerry is the antagonist.
Oh, big
Jerry
time.
stays basically the same the entire movie.
And her whole world gets turned upside down. She falls in love in a matter of days, or you don't really know what the timeline is, do you? It's probably a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit longer. But yeah, so Alice, she kind of yo-yos with Jerry, honestly, because at first, what did she say when he first shows up to the courthouse? She goes, "Oh, this guy has a restraining order waiting to happen."
Right, yeah.
And she's just sort of tolerant of him because he saved her from a mugging at one point.
She's got a good feeling about him, but
she knows, he's ultimately a good man, but
well, he's telling her crazy stuff.
He is.
He's trying to convince her to call Washington
and warn the president that they're going to kill him with an earthquake.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
the infamous they, and that's what she keeps asking. She's like, "Who's they, Jerry? Them? They? Who is it?"
And he doesn't know.
He can't tell her because he's been brainwashed.
Well,
you come to find.
Yeah.
It's a very Manchurian Candidate, Jason Bourne kind of a situation where he doesn't have the memory that he needs to really clarify what happened to him and why he has these really odd triggers. Like with once he starts melting down and they put the gravy in his system when they shoot him up, he starts like envisioning Looney Tunes and all these other crazy things. So it takes a while to get down to the bottom of what Jerry's actual problem is.
And Jerry, of course, he has become separated from Alice because Alice found out that Jerry was watching her. And didn't care for that, because which is totally understandable.
Because when they escape his apartment, she sees that there's a shrine to her, like pictures, paintings, you name it.
Well, but then he starts
scares her because he's like, he sees the picture of her father in the apartment, knowing that her father's dead. And her treadmill faces away from that picture. He's like, "That's why you push yourself. You're running away from the photo of your dad because there's some, feeling about that." And she was like, "Oh my God, are you watching me, Jerry? What are you sitting in your car?" And she's looking out of her blinds to see like where he might have been parked.
And he's not smart enough to go, "No."
Well, she already saw the shrine.
I just put two and two together. You know?
So she's upset with him, and those crazy things keep happening to where she can't trust him, and then she's getting half truths from everyone.
That's not Gary Cole, is it? The guy in the front seat.
He looked very familiar.
He looks like Gary Cole, but I don't think it's him.
It might not be. Let's see.
Oh, classic.
No, that's not Gary Cole.
Yeah, classic prank, tying a fruit stand to the back of your enemy's car.
Yeah. That guy does look like Gary Cole, but no, that's not him.
He looks like Gary Cole from Office Space.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, see, now you hit the police car. Now it's going to be a whole big mess.
Now it's a huge dilemma. He caused a kerfuffle.
Yeah. God, I miss Mel Gibson.
I know, I do too.
I just miss that goofy ass Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Because it's... I mean, it is serious.
Well, this is one of the first movies I ever saw him in and realized I had a crush on him. I was just like, he's so sweet. And like, but he was just one of the classic leading men before he had his meltdown.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's back. He's as back as
I think he's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I am disappointed. Last Christmas, one of my goals for last Christmas was to watch Fat Man. And I didn't do it.
Oh, it's already out?
I think it was straight to
streaming or something?
Straight to digital, yeah. And I was going to watch it because it just looked like, okay, it's Mel Gibson being actiony, goofy, silly Mel Gibson again. And I do want to see it. I'll save it for next Christmas.
He's Santa Claus, so is he fat in that movie? Like, did he gain weight for it?
I don't know.
Let's find out.
Probably so.
I mean, I would have to assume so.
You know. But then he gets back into shape because, like, Santa Claus is a badass who used to work for the government.
Oh, kind of like Kurt Russell in that other one.
Yeah. Kurt Russell has now played Santa Claus. He's got like the third of the.
And it was bizarre enough when Billy Bob Thornton played Santa Claus. Like, he wasn't the real Santa Claus. He was a mall Santa.
Yeah, that was
still,
a mall Santa though.
It was still though.
And you know,
oh my God, is Walter Goggins in Fat Man? I might watch it now.
I don't know.
The bad guy from Justified, the one with the bird hair, Boyd Crowder. He's Raylan's like arch nemesis.
Yeah, I assume he is.
No, I'm seeing him in the trailer. Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I'm curious about is what happened to Julia Roberts. I haven't seen her.
She became a mother, and I think she's just started focusing on her family because she's been married something like 3 times, and I think she settled down with either a cameraman or a producer, somebody who's not really in the limelight.
Yeah.
But she's got kids.
Well, that's good.
No, he doesn't look fat in this.
I like the idea of people.
Here, show the Hindsighters. That's Walter.
Yeah, there you go.
It's either Walter or Walton Goggins. I can't remember.
Walton
Goggins.
There you go. Yeah, so that'll be this. We'll do that this Christmas.
That sounds like fun.
We'll do that.
Now that I see that Mel's not morbidly obese in it, yeah, I'll check it out.
He does still sport the beard. You know, he's definitely in a beard phase.
He is, and it was really wild there for a second. It wasn't. It was not a fashionable one by any stretch of the imagination.
But no, I like the idea that Julia Roberts got out of the game.
I don't know that she got out of the game. I'm looking at her IMDb right now. I don't know that
she's probably in something that I just haven't heard of.
Yeah, I think she's just doing different kinds of projects. Maybe she's doing indie stuff. Who knows?
She might be.
That's what a lot of the actors do when they try to cool things down from their careers. But, you know, especially when they have a family, because she's not one of the actresses that like transitioned to television when that happened. Kind of because, you know, a lot of actors do that just because they have a steady place to live for a longer period of time. Yeah,
and she didn't start Goop and start selling vagina
sweet
candles.
Jesus, Gwyneth Paltrow, what happened? Did you knock your head too hard making those Marvel movies?
I'm pretty sure Gwyneth Paltrow was always nuts, and you know, now she's just got the freedom to express her insanity.
Yeah. I say that, but she's in a TV series called Gaslit that apparently
never heard of it. Oh wait, wasn't she in that movie that she was in that Amazon series that with the dead goldfish?
Dancing Women or Dancing Woman?
No, it was like it was the one about people like vets. It was a place for vets to come back.
Yes, okay, I know what you're talking about.
That's it. She was in that. I didn't see it.
I didn't either, so that's why the titles are not jumping out at me. But she's been working, not nearly as much as she used to. But she's got a movie called Ticket to Paradise coming out in 2022, so she's still working.
Yeah, sounds like an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, kind of does.
So I shall pass. No, but getting back to conspiracy theory, the movie does sort of change a bit where it goes from sort of focusing on the conspiracy stuff to being a kind of classic 80s, 90s fugitive.
A little bit. You kind of expect the janitor from Scrubs to run out and say, Kimbo!
Yeah, I mean, he's evading, you know, law enforcement. But the cool thing is that he's not evading, you know, the cops. He's invading this all-powerful, you know, omnipotent, omniscient,
Captain
intelligence community. Yeah, led by Captain Picard.
Yes, because, I mean, he was trained by them. It's just like how Jason Bourne can give the government the slip the same way when you train somebody to be that stealthy and that intelligent. Yeah, it's going to happen.
New York in the 90s. Look at that. God, that town was so cool.
I've never been.
It is such a shame what's happened to that town. It's just not the same. Oh. You know? In fact, what was it? I saw it the other day, they were filming an episode of Mrs. Maisel, and I don't remember which park they were in, but they actually had to stop filming because there was a shooting.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it's
was it the one where she went to the rally to prevent them building a new road? Like, which season were you watching?
No. I think this just happened.
Oh, okay. So this is brand new.
I don't think it's an episode that's come out yet. But I haven't seen it either, so I wouldn't know. I've been too busy, catching up on Letterkenny, which.
What is it? Boys in Letterkenny, my God.
Well, it's like I've said, if you watch, I didn't come up with this, somebody else came up with it. If you watch 3 episodes of a TV series, it's part of your life now.
That's like tasting food. Yeah. One is to like establish, and then I don't remember what it was. Yeah. Once you get to your third bite, that's like the clinger for foods that you're going to finish. Yeah. So it's sort of the same concept.
It's a good show. I just started the second series. And I feel like about the 3rd episode of the second series, it's like come together from a comedic standpoint. And I actually found myself laughing.
Well, and the first season is always a little piecemeal because the characters are still finding their voices. Yeah. Because that's one thing that I've heard so much about with Schitt's Creek is that people could not get past even the first couple of episodes, let alone the first season, which I didn't really understand because I adored every second of Schitt's Creek.
When I watched it the second time, I could tell that the characters were different, but it never just jumped out at me.
Yeah, it was never like a sore thumb or anything.
But there's a lot of shows like that. I mean, Seinfeld, the first season of Seinfeld is nowhere near as good as it gets. Most shows don't manage to hit it right away. Bob's Burgers did.
Oh, Bob's Burgers has been perfect since day one. Yeah. My God.
Anything Graham Linham ever did, the IT Crowd, Black Books.
I don't know. Archer kind of spun out for me, like with the whole.
Oh, later on.
Later on.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean like from the beginning.
It was hitting
the ground running.
It was consistent with the characters and their development, and yeah, I totally agree with you there. Yeah. But yeah, Julia Roberts is being gaslit.
Yeah.
Because every time she thinks that she can trust Jerry, Picard comes up with some kind of half-truth, and he's the one who reveals to her the fact that Jerry was the one who, I think he says like straight out that Jerry was the one who assassinated her father, who was a judge, right?
Stop letting him make you believe things.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't even have to shoot her up with gravy. My God, he just tells her little half-truth lies, and she believes him.
Well, think about it. She's a Justice Department attorney.
Yeah, she's a logical woman.
She's in that system, know, and like people in the system tell you things, you tend to believe it over a guy who's definitely a bit odd.
Yeah, odd is putting it lightly. He's definitely disturbed.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what's easier to believe, what this guy's saying or what Jerry's saying? Well,
especially since this guy's, an official. He ranks above her. He wears a nice suit, and Jerry's running around in a New York cap, and jeans, and just tying fruit carts to SUVs.
Right.
So that's the admirable thing about his character, and I think that's where she ultimately finds trust in him. Is he's always trying to protect her. He never hurts her. He never loses his mind on her or goes crazy in her direction. He's crazy a lot around her. But the worst thing and I'm not saying this is a light crime by any means. The worst thing he does is watch her. And that's because you come to find it's because her dad charged him with her protection. He was like, look after my girl when he was dying because, spoiler alert, Hindsighters, Mel Gibson did not kill Julia Roberts' father. He was programmed to do so by the shady Captain Picard, but he didn't go through with it.
By the CIA.
And he must have drank him about 15 Dr. Peppers.
And it is interesting because when you go back to the beginning of the movie, when Jerry is talking to the guy and saying like, oh, this girl I love, and it's like, well, does she know that? No, never told her, and then he just says, I would die for her.
Yeah.
And it sounds creepy, but then you realize that it's like Jerry's sublimating. He knows he's got this attachment to her.
But he doesn't understand
and
why.
He doesn't know it, so his brain just says, well, you must be in love with her.
Geronimo. That's what he calls love. He calls it because you have to. It's like jumping off the Empire State. You're yelling Geronimo the whole way down.
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned that earlier in the episode. But so Picard flashes a picture of Julia Roberts with her father, and she's got a past activity. She used to be an equestrian, but she doesn't ride anymore.
She's an equestranaut.
It's too hot to trot. But her love for riding kind of died along with her father, and so Mel Gibson sees that she's got a picture of her with her horse, and do you remember what his name was? I think it was Tiny Dancer or something.
Oh,
yeah. I was like, that's a cute name for a horse. Oh my God. But so she's kind of evasive when Mel Gibson's looking into that. And he's like, oh, do you still ride? And she's like, no. And just sort of puts the picture down and dismisses it.
No, it's a character trait. Yeah. We'll do some exposition on this later. Okay, fine. I can wait. So Picard... And I'm just going to call him Picard. So Picard is attempting to get Alice to betray
Jerry. To turn him over, yeah. And
it is an interesting thing because this is really the crux of Alice's character changing. Mm-hmm. This is her arc because now it's the rubber's got to hit the road. Yes. Do you really believe Jerry? Do you really want to, put that kind of confidence in him?
Well, especially after she just broke his heart, because when they were on the subway together a minute ago, Mel Gibson proposes to her. He's asking her to marry him, and she's just like, what? You're insane. And he trusts her to such a heartbreaking level. Yeah. He falls right into the trap because it's Alice. And there's nothing he wouldn't do for her, even though she turned... That's the one bad thing that he does, or like not even bad thing, the one time he turns his back on her is when she shuts down his proposal and says no, like, because he says, you don't love me, and she's like, I don't, and they're just kind of hemming and hawing, and he's like, oh, you don't love me, and then he runs away from her because she breaks his heart so hard. It's so sad.
You know who would have been great in a movie with Mel Gibson?
Me.
Yeah, okay, maybe. Burt Reynolds. A Burt Reynolds Mel Gibson movie would have been just awesome.
That would have stopped the heart of every woman in America. Oh my God.
Because we know that when you put Mel Gibson and James Garner together, it's great because they were in Maverick together.
Yeah.
Which is I love Maverick. It's one of my all-time favorite, just enjoyable movies.
That's why I'm excited about Goggins being in the movie Fat Man, because I love him. He's a fantastic actor. He was on Community. And he was the guy who did the lie detector test with the gang after Pierce died.
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, Hindsighters, if you haven't watched Community. But
if you haven't by now.
He's hammered at the end, and he's like, I'm a cool guy. I'm fun to hang out with. But yeah, that's Walton Goggins. He's amazing. And he was the transvestite hooker on Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, well, there you go.
He is the bell that does not tell. That was his tagline for his business. He's a fantastic actor. I love him. But yeah, so now they are collaborating with Julia Roberts to trap Jerry.
Yeah.
And poor thing, she goes through with the plan.
And that's the thing. Jerry's whole thing is he trusts her.
Yeah.
And that's both his strength and his fatal flaw.
And this bothered me. It's such a little thing, but this pizza that he ordered to her office, trying to get her to sneak out and meet him in the street, she tells them where they're going to be going and, betrays Jerry. But the pizza looks so disgustingly fake. When he pulls it out of the box, he's like, hey, is that still hot? I'm starving. And he's just like eating pizza and driving over the bridge.
Which is funny because you'd think in New York that would be the easiest prop to come up with. It's just fresh pizza.
Genuine looking pizza.
Genuine pizza.
And it wouldn't be that hard to procure.
It is weird, because every once in a while you are driving down the street and you do see like the SUV, and it has the government plate. I mean,
we saw an unmarked SUV the other day on our way to Ren Fair.
And you always just want to say, what do you guys up to?
There it is, the pizza.
Yeah, and fortunately he didn't notice the bug. That was terror. Oh, look, and they've got a Star Wars thing. They stole that from an X-Wing.
Yep, they totally did. They're going to blow up the Death Star after this.
These idiots couldn't blow up the Death Star.
But this is one thing that I've learned, especially in the acting world, with the eating the pizza, getting back to that for a second. I learned from John C. McGinley that the best food you can possibly have to eat, obviously it's not going to work in a car, but he always says that he tries to go for soup whenever possible, because you can't really see, unless they've got a shot of the soup, you don't track the level that it's at, and you can more or less pretend to eat it. Because if you have multiple takes where you have to keep taking a bite of pizza and eating all day long, like, it makes people sick, like with Will Ferrell and all the candy and Elf.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it makes you screw up your lines.
Oh, yeah.
See, I watched this scene and I just imagined Deadpool showing up.
Huh. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, let's get a... Wait. was there a Mel Gibson, Ryan?
What?
No, it was Bruce Willis and Ryan Reynolds. They were together in a movie. I was going to say Deadpool. And
Yeah, I don't think Mel Gibson's ever been in a movie with Ryan
Mel
Reynolds.
Gibson needs to. There are
so many good pairings that
we got to get Mel Gibson back out there. Hollywood, seriously,
make it so.
Just do it. Yeah, I mean Picard, he's still acting, not very well, but yeah, it's not.
What's he doing now?
He's in Picard.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's terrible.
Oh, that sucks.
It's absolutely god awful.
Because when I first saw the promotions for it, I thought it was just like a fan art thing. I didn't even know it was real.
No, it's real, and it is dreadful.
Oh. But see, even Jerry, and he doesn't for a second believe that Alice might be the reason why they're being followed. He already had a game plan in place to ditch the car in the middle of the bridge and cause a kerfuffle and switch cars. And he's so chivalrous with her. He helps her over the partition, and he's so in love with her. It's ridiculous.
He's a clever guy. He's a really clever guy.
He really is. And your heart just kind of breaks for him because even that, just having the abandoned vehicle there with the hood up, so nobody's going to tow it. They just assume somebody's coming back to fix it.
He sees Battersea Station out there, the power plant.
Yes, and that's like a trigger for him too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because isn't that where he was originally tortured and brainwashed?
And of course, we see that Alice is looking at him and seeing his reaction to it. I mean, you know very well that Alice is going to come around pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And realize what's going on because, let's be honest. I mean, the movie can't be too long. I mean, we're already very deep into it.
Yes.
And it's a long movie.
Yeah, it's longer than I remember it being, honestly.
Yeah.
And when you see the black helicopters, because that's something that Jerry's kind of spooked about in the beginning. He's like, they're everywhere. And they're hovering right above the street and you don't see them because they're black. They blend in with the night. He just comes off so paranoid, but he has every reason to be.
Yeah,
you
but
just don't
as it turns out,
why.
it's all true. Yeah. Well, and that's the weird thing because nowadays, it seems like every day there's another news story about UFOs, to the point that the part of my mind that is a little conspiracy theory is thinking, okay, you know what? I don't buy that they're UFOs. You guys are talking about it way too much. It's something else. You know what it is. It's something that we have or that the Chinese have or something.
Yeah.
Because
it's just some unidentified.
Yeah, because it's getting to the point where, everyone's like, oh, yeah, we take this very seriously now. The government's taking this seriously. We're looking into this.
Oh, Lord.
Either we should all be panicking and running in the streets. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about that for a second. They're actually seriously talking about UFOs, and we all just wake up in the morning and do our thing, and it's like...
because that started we first, really cited them, right, in 2020, or was it 2019?
Well, the releases...
came out in 2020.
Yeah, the videos were captured earlier.
That's right, because everybody was like, oh, yeah, what the hell now in 2020? What fresh hell is this? Because we just didn't know.
But,
speaking of UFOs and such, Jason, on your whiteboard behind you, I see the big message. NASA did it!
Spoilers. Spoilers. This is what I did in the movie theater.
The official announcement.
Yeah, whenever I walked out of the theater, it just made everybody so angry. And it was delightful.
I'm sure.
Now, Alice still is in the Jerry's bad camp.
Yeah, she's teetered back into that.
How does she come back around?
She ultimately comes back around because they wind up at the stables. Mel Gibson takes her to her father's property where the stables were.
Right.
And she melts down on him. She even starts pounding on his chest and hitting him, and it kind of shakes him loose, and then he remembers.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, okay, I was supposed to kill your dad, and she melts down.
Yeah.
And then he was like, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it. He got shot by this person, and it was too late. I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And the last thing he told me was to look after you.
Right.
And so then all the pieces of the puzzle finally fall into place.
Yeah.
But Jerry unfortunately gets captured.
Yeah. Which ends up being a good thing because that's how he kills Captain Picard.
No, Julia Roberts kills Captain Picard.
Oh, I thought Jerry drowned him.
Jerry, they wind up in the pool because they're fighting each other, and they drop the gun. Picard almost gets the drop on Mel Gibson, but then they wind up in the pool together where he was being tortured and not even waterboarded, just straight up
Yeah, drowned. Yeah.
And Julia Roberts shoots him like 6 times when he's underwater.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
She's the one who kills him. Yeah, they're arriving at the stables right now, and she doesn't know, why Jerry knows where her father's estate is.
Yeah.
And so this is where she freaks out on him because it, and to your point, like you said, she's in the legal system. She's a very logical person. So far, the pieces add up to Jerry having killed her dad, but he didn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a question of believing a weird taxi driver who believes things that can't be true.
And who compulsively buys Catcher in the Rye, which it's funny that they chose that particular book because between 61 and 82, The Catcher in the Rye, according to Google, was the most censored book in high schools and libraries in the United States. The book was briefly banned in Issaquah, Washington high schools in 78 when 3 members of the school board alleged the book was part of an overall communist plot.
Well, and it is weird.
And Jerry's, he's all cloak and dagger as well, and he's got all these odd theories, and they're trying to censor him. They're trying to censor the message because he knows the truth and he's trying to get it out there.
Yeah.
So it's funny that they chose Catcher in the Rye for that. I mean, I know they did it on purpose. But.
Yeah, well, because it is the one that had tied into at least a couple of assassinations and assassination attempts.
Yes. So it's a well-chosen book for this story.
Yeah. Because, I mean, what's his name? The guy who shot Lennon, Mark David Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did have it.
And that's what Mel Gibson was talking about earlier. He's like, you notice how serial killers only have 2 names and people who assassinate people have 3 names?
Yeah.
Like serial killers, Ted Bundy. Like and he just goes off naming all these different people who've murdered.
Yeah, but then he can't think of Sir Han's middle name. And she's like, does she say it? No, she doesn't say it. I think I read it somewhere where they were like, oh, he did have a middle name and this is what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah. But yeah, because what you come to find is that Jerry's dad, or excuse me, Alice's dad was actually working with Jerry because he figured out. That's why he was assassinated. He figured out what Picard was doing with this MK Ultra program. Yeah. And so he was trying to help Jerry.
Which is real.
Is it seriously?
Oh, yeah. MK Ultra is real.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's hardcore confirmed real.
Yeah, because it looks like it's... and Alice even says Manchurian candidate, electroshock that induces vegetative states. Like
LSD was a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. And the technology was stolen and eventually shot down when Hinckley shot Reagan.
Yeah.
And Jerry was a test subject. But yeah, the program was apparently terminated in 1973.
Yeah.
So that's, that Alice's judge of a father figured all this out. And so he was trying to help Jerry piece everything together and get down to the bottom of the mystery, but he got assassinated for it.
Yeah. Probably should have taken some more, hardcore steps to maintain your security. Yeah. If you start fucking with the CIA, you better...
There's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, you better know exactly what the hell you're doing. You've got to basically... You can't hide. You have to stand out and... The way you would do it today is not hiding at all. You've got to stand out in public with cameras on you and people all around.
And show them that you're not like...
I'm not dead. Yeah. I'm not dead. Okay? I am not committing suicide right now. If anything happens to me...
Get yourself declared sane by a psychiatrist and a therapist.
Yeah.
Like, to go the whole 9 with that. Yeah. So that way, if somebody does track you down, there's some evidence to prove that something happened to you. But, he just he tries to protect her at every single turn. And
damn it, Jerry.
Damn it, Jerry. But Jerry unfortunately gets captured.
I can't not think of Rick and Morty when I hear that name.
See, I think of Parks and Recreation.
No,
because Jerry's the schlemiel and the schlemazel.
Yeah.
But poor Jerry does get captured, but Alice escapes, and you have that callback to the fact that she runs all the time on her treadmill because they did they shoot him up with something, or are they just holding him at gunpoint in the helicopter?
I can't remember.
No, I'm looking right now.
I think they just have a gun on him.
Yeah, so he's just pinned down in the helicopter, and then Alice gets away and jumps a fence and just sprints like a freaking Olympian.
Oh, and they shot her boss.
Yeah,
that's a pretty clear indication that that they're bad guys. That's the beautiful thing about us.
And that was some, that really sucks that he got shot because he was just concerned about her the entire time. He was like, I don't want to use her as bait. I don't want to do this. So
he had to get shot because him getting shot made it
that was the final nail in the coffin to convince Alice.
Okay, Jerry's definitely telling the truth. These are bad guys. you know.
And he's so, like, Jerry's so proud of her. They're sitting up in the helicopter flying away while she's running from that guy who she just tricked into falling down like a well or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Picard tells him, yeah, you shouldn't watch Jerry. It's a moment without hope. And he's like, oh, no, you've never seen her run. And it's so sweet. He's so proud of her. It's ridiculous.
And she does run well.
Yes, she does.
She's almost a Tom Hanks level runner.
Good form.
You know. I have to question whether or not she could get away.
I would too,
But it's a movie,
simply
so
because
who
she's
cares?
running through grass and she's in heels.
Yeah.
So that would be tough.
Oh, is she in heels? I didn't even notice.
They're like those 90s kind of boot heels, so it's not like spike heels that would get sunk into the grass.
Oh, the wrong guy got shot, idiot.
Yeah, they keep shooting the wrong people.
Friggin' morons,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
there's another CIA agent who gets right in the line of sight when the guy goes to shoot Alice in the back, and the other guy gets shot instead of her.
Yeah. And the amazing thing about this movie also is that it's pre 9/11. Mm-hmm. And so it's we all know the CIA does all this awful shit, you know? Because think about it. When this movie came out, words that didn't appear in this movie, CIA black site, extrajudicial rendition.
Judicial system.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't do it. Yeah. Dr. Feelgood. Dr. Feelgood. I mean, but I don't know. But what's the point? Just kill him.
Well, because they need somebody to pin Alice's death on, because Picard thinks that she's dead and he's killed her boss. They both work at the courthouse, so they've got to have somebody to pin the crime on.
I'd still blame it on him and just say that he got away.
No,
or
it's just
something,
like with
you know?
Hinckley or whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and this isn't really the final nail in the coffin, but this is where Alice also discovers like just how spooky the CIA
All the way
agents
to the
are,
top.
because they had like a full building level all to themselves with desks and operatives running around everywhere, and then like 24 hours later there's not a speck of evidence that anybody ever worked there.
Yeah.
And she's and this is another turning point, because what is this agent's name?
Agent MacGuffin? Agent Red Herring.
Agent Lowry.
Agent Lowry.
He asks,
he has a great seasoning salt.
Yes, he does. It goes great on Zaxby's French fries.
Excellent, yeah.
But it's kind of funny because you can't tell if he's on the up and up either, because he's tailing Jerry. And earlier in the movie, he asks Alice to dinner in the interest of interagency cooperation, and Mel Gibson doesn't care for that shit at all. He's in the back seat, and he's like, what?
That's my favorite scene, whenever he's asking if Lowry's intentions are honorable.
Yeah.
And
he's like,
he hits him in the back of the neck with the gun, and you're like, that's not going to knock him out. And then
and
Mel's
he's sitting there like this. And
are you pretending? Are you? Yes, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm pretending he hits me again.
And then he busts him again. But, and that was really sweet, though, what you said about Jerry, because he was like, so what are your intentions with Alice? Like, I don't like this. And he was like, well, actually, we're here to protect her from you, man. Like, that's what we're here for.
And isn't that kind of interesting that he's like, he asks, what are your intentions? And it comes off corny.
Because Lowry did ask her out to dinner under an official capacity.
Lowry is going to need serious physical therapy after this assignment is over. He's been knocked out twice.
It's very Archer. Oh my God, how long did you sleep after that? Oh, it's super bad for you.
Yeah.
But see, people keep not knocking him out.
Yeah.
Because he just got back up and he's fine. He's good at playing possum, except with Jerry. Jerry's the one who figures out that he didn't actually knock him out.
Yeah. So, she's going to go back to, the Batcave.
Yeah, Jerry's a little conspiracy cave.
Yeah.
Which an odd amount of stuff survived.
Yeah, surprising that they didn't clear all that out.
Yeah, because they did follow them down there, but I guess it's painted on the walls, but you would think that they would paint over it or something.
Or maybe they want it there so they can show that he's,
he's crazy.
Crazy
they'd
stalker.
frame him just like they did.
That makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that does make more sense. So, yeah, God, it's just a collage of all of these different crimes that have been committed, and
he put a lot of work into it.
Yes, he did. He's quite an artist.
No, I mean,
it's very well painted.
No, the guy's got talent.
He does.
And look, there's the building. Oh, that's a convenient thing. Now she can go to that building.
Yeah, she did. She pieces it back together, because you do see her look at the smokestacks.
Yeah.
When they're in the car together, like you mentioned earlier, but then she sees that it's painted, and that's how she figures out that that's where they took him.
Right. And it is it's an ominous building.
It is. It's like an insane asylum.
Yeah.
And they have the cutest moment where Jerry's laying on the floor and he's all doped up.
Germain something mental hospital.
Oh yeah, so it is. a mental hospital. But they have Jerry in this closed off.
Why does it have those big smokestacks? That's kind of an because yeah, it is.
Oh, well, the smokestacks are over there.
Oh, okay.
That's not the same building.
Okay,
that's just what you can see from the bridge.
That's right, because Jerry saw it when he drove out the first time when he was in the, or he
Yes.
didn't see it, but when he was in the back of the laundry truck.
Yeah.
And the truck drove out. He saw. Yeah,
It's just a landmark that helps to guide Alice to the right place. Because I mean, is he really going to? I would have checked the mental hospital first too, because if they're trying to frame a
better watch
guy
out.
for
It's
being
probably
cuckoo.
haunted.
Yeah.
I suspect that a mental hospital.
Oh, look, it's Captain Rogers' shield on the wall.
Yeah, and it's lit up. That must be. Yeah, they must have bought that from Think Geek. It's the Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Two-Face.
The Scarecrow's there.
Yeah, Scarecrow's there.
He's gonna blast you in the face with that powder stuff. Run.
Geronimo.
Yep. Son of a bitch. Well, because that you
No way, I'm not in.
You-
I'm putting together a crew. I'm in, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. I'm in. But it's gonna be a heist, Morty. A heist.
I just figure that a mental hospital, they'd leave more lights on.
Well, it is nighttime.
I know, but
And you never know, like
yeah,
if
that's true, 'cause-
if lights are flickering and stuff, you don't want to. With
entire
patients like that,
building
they're
full of chronic masturbators.
oh god. But with patients like that, they're a lot more sensitive to things. So I think it's safer to just have the lights dimmed.
Oh, there
And you
was
find out that Jerry's conspiracy theory
Jerry
about
was
the
on it.
earthquake. Yeah.
Well, the earthquake thing is never concretely
Proven that it was
could be
meant
a
to kill the
coincidence,
president.
but it is pretty suspicious,
And they're about to have the sweetest moment because, like I said, Jerry's all doped up in this closed down wing where they have the pool, and he registers that like Alice can kind of hear him moaning and talking through an air vent, and she's like, "Jerry, where are you?" And he's like, "Hey, Alice!" Like he's just so happy to know that she's just there, even though like all
and only Mel Gibson can do that.
yeah. He's in dire straits.
Or Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
I think
could do it.
you could put Ryan Reynolds in this movie as the exact same character.
It would be it'd be the same movie.
It would be the same movie.
Yeah.
You'd get the exact same vibe off of it.
And that's not to insult Mel Gibson because Ryan Reynolds is a fantastic actor.
No.
He's got that perfect blend of like
that's a compliment.
toughness and charisma and a sense of humor to boot.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she's like, "Hey, Jerry, can you hear me?" And she's just trying to figure out where he is. But what does he say? It's so cute, and he rolls. Yeah, that is such a Ryan Reynolds move too.
Yeah.
He would he's all taped up and tied down, and he rolls toward the vent so he can talk to her. Oh, and he starts singing to her. "You're just too good to be true." Like that's so sweet.
His brain is just sort of
Mush.
randomly coming up with things.
Yeah.
when
Well,
did this
because that was
movie-
the song she was listening to when she was
Yeah.
on the treadmill because he noticed
Yeah.
her lips moving and he was like, "You're singing." And so he changed the channel on the radio until he was matched up with what she was singing.
Which is, I mean, if it wasn't really creepy, it would be
baby.
sweet.
Yeah, it is really creepy.
Yeah. But again, in the context of this movie, justifiable.
Hi, Alice. Yeah. Alice, I'm sorry you're dead because he thinks he's responsible for her being shot.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay.
I'm right here.
Yeah, I love it. Jerry, where are you? I'm right here. I'm on the floor." It's so great. Where's here, Jerry? On the floor?
See, and that's the thing. Like, even in the serious moments, it's still got, like, it's hard to peg this movie down. First of all, it should not be an R-rated movie.
Yeah, there's nothing really that terrible in it. It's got
There's nothing in it that
it's got a decent deal of violence, but nothing gory or particularly brutal.
They don't say the F word once in the whole movie.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
No, they don't,
I think
'cause
they
that-
curse a little bit, but yeah, it shouldn't be an R-rated
it's not.
movie.
I mean, it's like it should be PG-13.
Yeah, and the smokestacks. That's because that's the room they put him in every time they bring him to the hospital,
Yeah.
and so he can see the smokestacks like reflected in a light.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. That's why the smokestacks triggered him earlier.
She better have a gun.
She does. She
Yeah,
just,
I know,
She
yeah.
just hit Lowry in the neck with it.
No, just because I know you gave the guy $100, but
Yeah, he's like, "This is way beyond that.
Yeah.
No, that's not
Yeah,
enough."
yeah.
But the good news is that she at least covers her ass because she tells the male orderly, she's like, "Listen, I have to go take care of this. Call this man and call these people and tell them where I am." So she knows she's got backup coming in.
But it's a question of time.
Yes, it is. Especially, like $100 doesn't cover. I'll clean the place up.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely. I wonder if that would work. I've always because in movie, I don't think you could smash a master lock with a fire extinguisher.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I've never tried it. We should myth bust it.
Yeah, we should try that. Yeah. So he's in the spooky wing.
Yeah,
Of course,
and you gotta wonder,
like, the
what,
mental hospital has a spooky wing.
Yeah, and it's empty, and it has a pool. I don't really understand this. I guess it might have been the patients might have used to have been allowed to swim, but then maybe it presented with some issues, or
I don't know. Or they did the ice baths.
Oh,
that was one of the things.
maybe.
Yeah, they used to do that.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they'd throw them in the ice bath. Because basically psychiatrists back then were just monsters.
They were monsters.
They were
who would shock you.
They weren't trying to help shit.
No. Well, it's like that movie, the Johnny Depp movie From Hell, where he's tracking down Jack the Ripper.
Oh yeah.
And they're lobotomizing everybody with a hammer. It's nightmarish.
Yeah.
And that movie's actually similar to this one in one sense. There's this kind of intense, sweet love story going on amidst all of this chaos and violence, because Johnny Depp is with Heather Graham sort of in that movie. But neither couple ends up together.
Right.
And Jerry has to do it to keep Alice safe because they fake his death.
Yeah.
And he goes into like WITSEC or something.
Yeah.
And so they pull up in an SUV at the end when Alice, you see she's back on a horse. And
she's good at knocking people out with that gun.
yeah, she is. Well, no, she's 50-50 at this point because she didn't get Lowry. She hit him pretty hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, see, those were the boots I was saying. She's got like at least 2.5 inch heels.
I wouldn't want to
so.
run in the mud with it.
No, that would be difficult. Oh God, Jerry, God, he's so sweet.
Yeah.
She picks up his head off the floor. He's soaking wet and like tied up, and he's like, "Oh, this is the best dream I've ever had." Hi, Alice.
But then he gets back into protect Alice mode.
Well, yeah, because Picard shows up and there's a fight, and he knocks her out for a minute. It's not a gentleman, and that'll.
No, Picard's a dick.
Yeah, he sucks in this movie, big time.
Yeah, he really does. And I'm Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, and you come to find, okay, so that's the guy from the beginning. Jerry collects newspapers to distribute his newsletter in the beginning from this guy in a wheelchair who's like a street performer, and they're banging on the top or the bottoms of buckets to drum for money, and Jerry pulls up and he's honking his horn and beating on his steering wheel. Yeah, it's sweet. But the guy in the wheelchair is one of the agents who's actually been keeping tabs on Jerry and trying to keep him safe.
Right.
So, and you see him walking down the hall and you're like, oh, he was undercover the entire time. So nobody is who they say to be, except for Alice.
Alice is the only one who is, and that's the thing. Alice is she's the everyman. She's the fulcrum. Yeah. We are Alice in this movie.
Yeah, she's, like you said, she's the protagonist. Everything about her world changes. Yeah. And Mel Gibson's the antagonist, but only to a certain point.
Yeah.
He's compelled.
Dun dun dun! It's
Patrick
Stewart.
Good thing the good guys are there in the hospital too. Yeah. So now it's a matter of time, just like you said, Jason. Yeah. Let's see.
But will they get there fast enough?
We'll have to find out.
Wait, no. So is that guy? Is he FBI?
I never wrote that down. I couldn't.
Because Lowry is FBI.
So I think Lowry, they must be because they're together.
Yeah.
So it's the FBI versus the CIA.
Yeah, this is back when the FBI were the good guys and the CIA was the bad guys before they were both bad guys.
No comment. They're watching, Jason.
Yeah, they've heard me already.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
dick.
Yeah, you don't hit a lady. You got it right in the spine, too.
Yeah. I'm telling you, these people are all going to need a lot of PT.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a good Cairo if you guys need one. Choking him with a mop.
He's enjoying this.
Well, Mel Gibson just goes apeshit, and that's a pretty common trope with hero stories like that. Like in Doctor Who, when a Christmas tree comes to life and it's spinning and it's going to kill Rose, and the doctor's knocked out, and all she does is like lean into his ear and whisper, "Help me," and he immediately wakes up out of like a coma to stop the Christmas tree from hurting his girl.
Yeah.
So, and Mel Gibson like jumps into action with that. Oh yeah, Picard does shoot Mel Gibson, so that's why they were able to let you believe that he died in the end.
Yeah.
Because she visits his gravestone.
She's shooting him.
Yeah, she shoots him like 6 times.
See, and the thing is, speaking of Mythbusters, is I don't think either Mel Gibson or Patrick Stewart would have even been hurt.
Depending on how the bullets traveled in the water.
You can't do it. You can shoot an M16 into the water. As soon as that bullet hits the water, yeah, no energy. And so there you go. So Jerry is, at this point, the movie's over.
Yeah, he's hanging on for dear life because I think they got him I think Picard got him at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I think it was twice in the chest.
Yeah.
You know.
Like a sort of upper shoulder area. But it's still, he's been tortured for the last few hours. He's not in good shape.
No, but he's also very tough. You know.
Well,
clearly.
yeah.
So
he's Mel Gibson. Oh, and she's panicking. Like,
whoa, her mouth goes full Julia Roberts there.
Well, I mean, God, Hugh Grant apparently teased her about that a long time ago, where he was like, God, the lips on that woman, it's crazy. And I was like, dude, come on, don't screw over your co-star like that.
We are talking about the man who got dumped by Elizabeth Hurley because he was caught in the backseat of a car with a prostitute.
Yeah. He doesn't exactly display the best judgment. You're right about that.
No. And I like the fact that Jerry is taken away in a white helicopter.
Yeah, it's a nice juxtaposition. Because he's been chased so much by the black helicopters.
It's one of the good guy helicopters.
Oh, wow, you were right about MK Ultra. I believed you, but I just had no idea.
Look it up, Hindsighters.
MK Ultra program that forms a key factor of the plot for the movie is real and well documented.
Oh, yeah. It's a real thing.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And according to Richard Donner, the director, Mel Gibson improvised the opening scenes in which his character expounds on his conspiracy theories to a succession of passengers. Because it is a bunch of random crap.
It's a lot of stuff, yeah.
And so you had to wonder about that. But, she's getting gaslighted everywhere she turns. Poor Julia Roberts, because they fake Mel Gibson's death.
Yeah, she needs to go get a job as a small town lawyer somewhere in the Midwest
and fall in love with some guy who owns the flower shop
and just keep your head down for the rest of your life and just
but she puts her father's pen on Mel Gibson's gravestone, on Jerry's gravestone, and I miss your face.
I miss your face.
Stop it, Barry. Poor guy. But then an SUV drives by when she gets back up on the horse, as it were, literally and figuratively, and she's an equestrian again. Oh, there's Tiny Dancer. Aww. You get to meet him.
Bucephala.
Bucephala.
And
get it to 2.
And here we go. And hey!
He's alive! Yay!
He's a head in a jar, but he's alive.
He's going to start
well, the funny thing is that
attacks.
Because of how so she's on the horse. Jerry sees her.
Well, okay, so she puts her father's pin on his gravestone, and that's very important because she's on the horse. He sees her. He's in an unmarked SUV that has tinted windows, so it's not like she could just look over and see him through the window. But then she discovers that the pin mysteriously showed up pinned to her horse's saddle.
Yeah.
And that was his little way of letting her know that he's okay.
Yeah.
And because she's just like, son of a bitch, he's still out there. That's awesome. And she's happy, but they don't get to be together.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer. I don't like that part of the movie.
Well, it is
such a girl.
It is disappointing, but it's kind of funny though, because now she sees that and now she's got a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, she does.
Because
comes full circle.
Now it's like, oh shit, now she's going to be the one who becomes obsessed with, Mel, he states evidence, so to speak. So he's going to go in witness protection.
Yes.
And he's going to tell everything he knows about MK Ultra.
Yeah, he even says, I'll give you the gravy on the whole operation.
Yeah, which, as we all know, led to nothing. No one going to jail. Everyone got away with it.
Well, the head boss was killed off, so I guess dismantling the program would have been enough. And if they were just following orders and the main guy's dead, that's the easiest situation for them.
How did that pin get there?
Oh.
Jerry. Jerry.
Oh, you got the wrong Jerry. Who cares? Just switch them up. But
and so that's
the movie.
Yeah, yeah. And I like that that he hands them the papers to remind the people in the audience who weren't, oh shit, that's the guy with the newspapers.
Yeah, because
there had to have been at least half the audience who didn't make that
didn't connect it when he was in the hallway. Yeah, but he's got a very distinct mustache and very distinct hair. So I don't know. I noticed it, but because Mel Gibson loves the newspapers, he loves piecing together the conspiracy theories in the newspaper, and he also distributes his newsletter, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And then this is so cute. Mel Gibson starts singing, I need you, baby. And the guys start singing along with him in the car. Yeah. It's so cute.
And it's not a rated R movie. I don't see why it has an R rating, because it's just a PG-13 action movie.
Yeah, and it's actually remarkably wholesome for a movie of that category.
Yeah.
I love you, baby. Sorry, I was messing up the song lyrics earlier. And then Julia Roberts is all free and happy and riding through the pasture.
Yeah, and she falls off the horse.
Oh my God.
She's spread eagle on the ground.
Oh, no.
And Jerry's driving away. Good to know she'll be okay.
What an ending. Dr. Jonas was Picard's character.
Played by Patrick Stewart.
But look, the black helicopter's still following at the end. You assume they're following Mel Gibson, but they could easily be following Julia Roberts because, you're just not sure.
They shouldn't have put the black helicopter in at the end.
Yeah, maybe they were leading up to a potential sequel, but
maybe. I mean, maybe.
But it never happened. No. There's not another.
Yeah, because the movie, I like it, but evidently it's a very forgettable movie, because I actually have mentioned this to people saying that we're doing conspiracy theory on the show, and they're like, what is conspiracy theory?
Oh God, no.
People don't remember this movie.
I know they don't. It's a conspiracy.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's real.
That's why I really wanted to do this, not just because it's a Mel Gibson flick, but honestly, I've always loved this movie. I can't remember the first time I saw it. I would have been, I want to say fresh double digits, like maybe 11 or 12, but I just loved it. And it was one of those movies that I didn't really know about all these famous assassins and all the history behind it. It was it was more of an action movie.
You don't need to, you don't need to know the history to enjoy it.
You don't. So Alf to Seinfeld for me on this one would, I'm actually going to put it at an 8.
I am too, because when I saw it in the theater, I walked out going, good. And watching it again, this is better. I wasn't fair to it the first time.
Yeah, and I appreciate.
I'm going to give it a 7. It's a 7 because I did like it, but I like it more now.
Yeah,
I definitely like it more now.
Now that I understand the backstory and all the history that goes into these conspiracy theories for the most part, and I understood the movie a little bit better and just appreciated it overall and the character development is great. Like, and I. In the beginning, I was just like, "Oh, Mel Gibson, he's my favorite, yay!" And now I actually appreciate all the other moving pieces. Right. So, and like you said, Julia Roberts' character arc and how she just kind of teeters back and forth between trusting him and ultimately they have this unshakable bond, which is actually really sweet. So it's a nice little love story, despite the fact that it's a PG-13 action movie. Like
it's good. I mean, it's not going to be on anybody's desert island list, but if you get a chance to watch it, go ahead and watch it. It's good.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell, take us home.
Well, Hindsighters, this has been a lot of fun for Jason and me. We've had to fill in some, episodes with Mr. Brown being out of town.
It was easy. I didn't miss him.
He wandered into the desert and we never saw him again. But anyway, we enjoyed having you in the studio with us, figuratively speaking. We always appreciate everybody who tunes in and checks us out on YouTube. So thank you for joining us for your drive time, your listening time, your conspiracy theory time. This has been Jason and Darth, and this is Hindsight, and good night.